For a man who loves attention as much as he loves money, MMA superstar Conor McGregor must be thrilled by the buzz around his possible return to the UFC. Even though he hasn't been in the cage for more than 17 months, McGregor is still the best ticket seller for the sport's most high-profile event. The 34-year-old's plans have been the subject of many rumors, which have been fueled by how active and provocative McGregor is on his very popular social media channels. Despite everything, Conor McGregor's UFC career reaches new low. It's sad to see. Conor McGregor's legendary UFC career has reached a new low ahead of his eagerly awaited comeback in 2023. The 34-year-old hasn't fought since July 2021, when Dustin Poirier beat him badly in the first round at UFC 264. He broke his leg when he fought Poirier, but the Irish fighter is almost ready to go back into the octagon now that he is healed from the serious injury. McGregor has a lot of strong opponents waiting for him. Michael Chandler and Rafael dos Anjos, for example, both want to fight him again, but Notorious will go back into competition without a number next to his name because he has fallen out of the UFC lightweight rankings. He is still in the pool of UFC fighters who can be ranked by the panel, but he is no longer in the top 15. Grant Dawson takes McGregor's place and moves up to number 14 in the UFC lightweight rankings. Islam Makhachev is the UFC lightweight king champion, which puts him ahead of Charles Oliveira, who used to hold the title. The top 5 are Poirier, Justin Gaethje, Beneil Dariush, and Michael Chandler. 6th place goes to Rafael Fiziev, 7th place goes to Mateusz Gamrot, 8th place goes to Dos Anjos, 9th place goes to Arman Tsarukyan, and 10th place goes to Jalen Turner. Also in the top 15 are Dan Hooker, Damir Ismagulov, Renato Moicano, Dawson, and Tony Ferguson. McGregor, on the other hand, could still get a shot at the UFC title in his next match. It had been said that he would fight Chandler, who had just lost to Poirier, but Dana White decided that he said McGregor would fight Chandler next year. "I never said that, ever," he said at the press conference at UFC 282. "This is what happens when people listen to the interviews you give." He also said, "I never, ever said Conor McGregor versus Chandler. I have no idea when Conor McGregor will be back. I don't like answering these kinds of questions because of this." Next, Paul Felder says Conor McGregor will always matter, but the division is just passing him by badly. Conor McGregor is still the biggest star in mixed martial arts, but it's still unclear how well he'll do against the best fighters in the world when he finally comes back to the UFC. The former 2-division UFC champion hasn't joined the organization's anti-doping program yet, so it's hard to say when he'll fight again. Before he can fight again, he'll have to pass drug tests for at least 6 months. He's been healing from a broken leg he got in July 2021 when he was last in the ring. He's been teasing his return to the cage, but there's still no way to know for sure when he'll fight again. Paul Felder, a former UFC lightweight who is now a UFC color commentator, says that McGregor will draw a huge crowd whenever he fights again, but even he isn't sure that will happen in 2023. Felder said on The Fighter versus the Writer, "I think he'll always matter, as long as he's at least teasing the idea of coming back. But that's what worries me. He is very busy. He's making movies like Roadhouse and all that. I'm not sure if that's finished or not. It's hard. Everyone is on yachts. You've got mansions. You have all of this. You are working on your own businesses. You're getting better after getting hurt badly. You pull yourself out of the testing pool for USADA. You have to wait before you can get back in it. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if we'll see him in 2023, to tell you the whole truth. In the 6 years since he beat Eddie Alvarez and became the first UFC fighter to hold 2 titles at the same time, McGregor has only gone 1-3, losing to Dustin Poirier twice. The lightweight division has changed a lot since McGregor left. Islam Makhachev is the new champion, Charles Oliveira is a former champion, and Mateusz Gamrot, Rafael Fiziev, and Arman Tsarukyan are up-and-coming savages. In anticipation of his eventual return, Michael Chandler has been the most vocal fighter asking for the chance to welcome McGregor back to the UFC. Felder thinks that's probably McGregor's best choice, especially when he looks at other possible opponents for him at 155 pounds. Felder said, "I don't mean to be rude, but I think the division is just moving on without him. I think a lot of us have missed it. I'm at least a few years older than him, but the next generation of fighters, if you're you're not in there mixing it up with them and on the mats with those kinds of guys every day. I know he's training, but he's going to have to hope for fights with Michael Chandler, who is a beast. But those are the guys you can still compete with. McGregor may have stopped his own momentum when he beat Alvarez to become a 2-division UFC champion, and then left the sport for more than a year to try to get a boxing match with Floyd Mayweather, which he eventually did. That one fight gave McGregor the most money he had ever made in his career, but Felder can't help but wonder if it also stopped him from improving alongside his peers in what is arguably the most competitive division in the sport. Felder said, "If he hadn't done the Floyd Mayweather thing and just stuck to MMA, I think he would have been a dangerous champion for a long time and done some damage." Well, when is Conor McGregor coming back? UFC return date as The Notorious plots next fight. First, what happened to Conor McGregor? It is unlikely that many MMA fans will ever want to hear about McGregor's past accomplishments again. After establishing his name in the professional ranks, McGregor went on to win titles for the Cage Warriors in the featherweight and lightweight divisions. The same thing happened to him in the UFC, where his meteoric rise to fame as the most famous mixed martial arts fighter in the world had as much to do with his insane behavior off the mat as it did with his victories on it. He did the same thing in both organizations. McGregor made the transition to boxing in August 2017 in order to compete against Floyd Mayweather, but he was defeated in the 10th round of one of the most financially lucrative and trash-talking fights in history. McGregor suffered a venomous defeat at the hands of the modern great Khabib Nurmagomedov on his return to the UFC. After defeating Donald Cerrone via first-round knockout in January 2020, he then took a break from MMA competition lasting more than a year. It came as a surprise to everyone when Dustin Poirier got his revenge on Conor McGregor by knocking him out in January 2021. At the beginning of McGregor's career in the UFC, Poirier was easily defeated by McGregor. On the other hand, McGregor's own attempt at getting his own back was what finally caused him to stop moving. After their second bout, which took place in July of that year, McGregor suffered a broken tibia and fibula on his left leg and had to be carried out of the cage on a stretcher. It was an excellent way to end a crazy part of his career, but not in the way that McGregor might have thought it would be excellent. Conor McGregor's recovery from injury. Since he severely hurt himself while fighting Poirier, McGregor has repeatedly posted videos of himself performing rehabilitation exercises in the gym. At the end of the year 2022, McGregor appeared just as eager as he usually was to display his massive physique for the more than 46 million people who followed him on Instagram. He uploaded a shirtless photo to his Instagram account and captioned it, "If Arnold Schwarzenegger and Bruce Lee had a mad Irish baby." During one of the clips of McGregor's sparring, an opponent struck him on the same left leg that had been injured on so severely in his most recent fight. When asked to describe how good he was, McGregor used the phrase "hot everywhere." "The genuine GOAT. There is no environment in which I am unable to perform well. It's possible that some of your most skilled fighters have never learned how to kick." McGregor later declared that he was back in the fight. While he hasn't been competing, McGregor has also put a significant amount of effort into establishing a solid reputation in the business world. He hasn't passed up a single opportunity to promote the Proper 12 whiskey brand, which is believed to have increased his net worth by tens of millions of dollars. When exactly will Conor McGregor make his comeback? White expressed his hope that his most popular fighter would return by the end of 2022 or the beginning of 2023 in a statement that was made in June of 2022. Before being allowed to compete in the Ultimate Fighting Championship, fighters were required to participate in a drug testing program administered by the United States Anti-Doping Agency for a minimum of 6 months. When he found out that McGregor had dropped out of the program as part of his recovery and was the only UFC fighter who hadn't been tested in 2022, light heavyweight fighter Anthony Smith said that the issue bothered the out of him. Smith was referring to the fact that McGregor was the only UFC fighter who hadn't been tested. Well, that's it for today. Thanks for sticking with us till the very end. Make sure to like and subscribe for more amazing videos. Till next time, cheers!